And vows that are physical, like I will go round 108 times, or I will go round while lying down on the ground, or I will come up with by walking on the kneecaps. So this kind of vows, physical, or I will keep fast continuously for a few days. So physical vows. And then ceremonies. Ceremonies are collective rituals, like a Brahmotsavam. So 10,000 people assemble and perform a big ceremony. And in that ceremony, the god is put, god means an image, is put in a palanquin or in a chariot. Those were the days of the chariot, when automobile was not invented. That's why chariot. Otherwise, what is the special about chariot? It is as good as an automobile, Those were the days when there were no automobiles and horses were drawing the carriages. And elsewhere they were called horse-drawn carriage. Now here we call it ratha. And translated it as chariot. Chariot it is not anything special. But so that becomes a sacred symbol, chariot, ratha. And therefore ratha, so put God in the chariot, ratha, and then take around. And so the chariot has a very big wheels and a lot of construction with the wood and all that. And it's a very heavy thing it is. The image itself will weigh not more than a kg, but the chariot weighs hundreds of tons for carrying this image around. And so if you start looking at it, it looks like that. Better not to look at it. That's why people are very happy not to look at it. Don't think about it, don't examine it, don't question it, just follow. That is better, Because if you start looking at it, so it is a very difficult it is. And therefore, take the chariot is pulled, big ropes are tied to the chariot, 2 of them. And hundreds of people pull these chariots. And now it is an uncontrollable, indisciplined mob it is. That is what it is. And a lot of religious fervor. And they pull the chariot. Sometimes children, elderly people are crushed under the wheels of the chariot. And sometimes this fervor reaches a crescendo when thousands of people will be milling around and there are stampedes and people die. It happens with a sickening periodicity or regularity in India that thousands of people gather and then there is no discipline. They are all devotees. And the occasion is a ceremony. And so Kumbh Mela, so 120 people dead due to a stampede in Haridwar. And in Ayyappa, Jyoti Darshanam, Jyoti itself is man-made, but people believe it is not man-made. All hypocrisy. Jyoti is man-made, but that fact is hidden. And government employs people to put some bonfire there, and people are shown that bonfire, saying that it is some divine incident, some miraculous incident, which it is not. Everybody knows. I mean, the people, important people know that it is a fire put there. But all these devotees are led to believe. They are led to believe, I tell you. Because all these religious leaders tell such things to them. See the glory of God, the Jyoti appearing, fire appears. So, and then thousands of people assemble to see that fire. You have to see that. See that fire. It is appointed time. Evening, night, 8:15 it comes. Or 8:10 it comes. And there, 8:10 hoga, put fire. And somebody puts fire to that thing. At an altitude, and all these people standing below, they will watch for that, and then there is clapping this and that. Now God has appeared in the form of fire. That is how God is fire. I don't deny that. Agnimide Purohitam. I don't deny that. But that is not the way it is understood there. And then there is a stampede. In that mad rush, and thousands, hundreds of people were killed. Pushkara Snanam. Hundreds, dozens of people were killed. Dozens. Take bath, sacred bath. Morning at 6:21 you have to take bath. And 6:20 they were putting ropes and holding. 6:21 the ropes are removed. And there is a surge of humanity into the river. And old people, women and children, they are the victims generally, because youngsters can hold back and push. Whereas old people and women and children cannot push. So they are crushed under the feet of this surging humanity. What a shameful thing it is. All in the name of religion. So these ceremonies, I have digressed. I wanted to say only ceremonies, but said so many other things. And then rituals. So rituals are performed at the individual level, ceremonies collectively, vows again are individual. This is the religion, outer form of the religion. And this is the religion practiced by the masses. This is the outer form of the religion, not the inner. Then what is the inner form of the religion? So, amanitvam adambhitvam. That is the inner form of the religion. And now you choose which one you want. You want me, sitting here reading this verse, you want me to support the outer form of the religion? You want me to do that? Shall I do that? If you tell me if I have to do that, I will do it. I am an expert in that also. I suggest pay more attention to the inner form of the religion. Don't be clever. We will do both. You will not be able to do both. There is no north-south direction. There is no east-west direction. There is north-west, something like that, or southeast. Means you mainly focus on the inner form of the religion. There will be some outer form, which you need not give up, you need not oppose. It can be there. A benign aspect of the outer form of the religion will be there. Some outer form is always there. Like you bend your head with reverence. That is the outer form. But the inner reverence is the main thing. Suppose inner reverence is absent and you bend your head, then you are a hypocrite. Now the point I wanted to make is, what is gaining of Ishvara? There is an expression like that, Ishvara Praptihi, to gain Ishvara. Now, how do you gain Ishvara? Through the outer form of the religion or through the inner form? Therefore, there is a law, Sadguna Praptireva Ishvara Praptihi. It's a sutra. Law means all the laws are in the form of aphorisms, you know. So gaining or cultivating that inner qualities of heart and head. So cultivating those qualities is, suppose you cultivate the qualities, now then you will reach God or gain God. No, not like that. Cultivation of the inner qualities itself is the gaining of God. Because that is the real God, you know. That is not the God that is put in place by human thought. That is not the God. That is the God which blossoms out of human consciousness. When the consciousness breaks asunder all its shackles of limited shackles in terms of space, time and an object, etc., all duality is set aside, and all ugly, selfish thinking is set aside, and you break apart the bondages of me and mine, and then the consciousness expands to the infinite. It expands without any bounds. When the consciousness expands to envelop all, that is the Sarvatma Bhava. So the consciousness expands to envelop all that exists. All that is myself. When the consciousness expands to that level, that consciousness is Brahma. That is what Brahma is. Therefore, the Brahma, the infinite, is embedded in your heart, in the finite. The infinite is embedded in the finite. That is the Maya. Generally, finite is embedded in the infinite. There is no Maya in it. But it is the other way. The infinite is embedded in the finite. And now you extricate the infinite from the bondage of the finite. That is liberation. And that is how you gain Ishvara. You gain Ishvara by expanding your consciousness. When the Rishi says, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the entire universe is my family, he has gained Ishvara in that vision. That vision is Ishvara. Therefore, the inner religion or the true religion is that in which you gain Ishvara by gaining these qualities, amanitvam, etc. That's why Shri Krishna said at the end of those qualities, Etad jnanam iti proktam, ajnanam yadatonyatha, ataha anyatha yat tad ajnanam. Other than this, the opposite of this is ajnanam. And Shankara lists the ajnanam. Manitvam, dambhitvam, take every word and put the opposite of it. Himsa, these are all ajnanam. Amanitvam means lack of ambition, lack of self-importance, etc. So adambhitvam, utter lack of hypocrisy and contradiction in life. So this is how, these qualities as you cultivate them, that is how you gain Ishvara, who is already embedded in your own consciousness. So therefore, amanit adyaha. So let us see briefly the list. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa. We have seen ahimsa. While discussing bhakti, we have seen ahimsa. Kshantihi is endurance. That is the translation. You may want to say accommodation, you are welcome. But I would prefer endurance. There may be some small difference between the two. Endurance. In accommodation, there is some grudge. Grudgingly you accommodate. Whereas in endurance, there is something else in it. Endurance, you endure. So, what is a kshantihi? You accept and endure. Sometimes people endure without accepting. That leads to a lot of mental distress. Whereas when you accept and endure, there is no mental distress. Sometimes when the endurance is preceded by acceptance, there is a joy in that endurance. Like on Ekadashi day, you endure hunger. You avoid breakfast and lunch, etc. And you endure hunger. You must have had a nice breakfast today. It is a breakfast bhiksha from one of our friends. So, generally I take my own breakfast, not the routine breakfast. But today I have changed my regular breakfast to this. You see, that is how the mind digresses. Just one word you take and go elsewhere. And come back. Anyway, therefore you psychologically accept it and endure. There is a joy in that. Like Ekadashi fasting. They are very happy about it, that they could fast on Ekadashi. Not old people. Old people may not want to do that. Youngsters and middle-aged people. Suppose you psychologically resist and endure. Sometimes it happens. Like you are in a travel, could not get any food, and therefore you don't like your situation, but you bear with it. And at the end of the travel, you eat food, and then remember that occasion with a lot of complaint, oh, I had to suffer so much like that. Therefore, when you endure the same thing with non-acceptance or even rejection, psychological rejection, it turns into distress. So you avoid all that by accepting happily and enduring. You see, if you don't endure, then what will you do? Lack of endurance leads to, the alternative of endurance is what is called helpless agony. That is what it is. Therefore, if you don't want to endure, no, I don't endure. Why should I endure? Okay. Now the alternate left to you is helpless agony. Do you want to do that? Get agonized helplessly? No, that is not the right thing to do. Therefore, better to endure. Therefore, you endure. My friend used to, hey, you behave. So I say, suppose I don't behave, then don't behave. Similarly, you endure. No, I don't want to endure. Okay, don't endure then. So, endurance is the right thing to do. And that endurance, with a smile, without a complaint, and happily enduring, is a golden virtue. And it is a divine quality. So, kshantihi. You see, no religious leader tells you this. The religious leader won't tell you this. He will not tell any of these things. He will tell you, you go round 108 times. Something like that he will tell. I went to Neelakanthi. There is a Neelakanthi, 16 kilometers trek. And I went there with a friend, with a few friends really. And the way to do it is start very early. By 6 you have to start and reach Neelakanthi and have darshan quickly. And again you have to start back the trek. Otherwise you cannot reach here by even 7 o'clock in the evening. It is a very long and hard trek. I have attempted one time and successfully completed. Now I cannot even think of it. So because you have to go to Lakshman Jhula, you have to go and Ram Jhula, you have to go and cross. And then come back here. That itself will take an hour. You are still here only, you can see from here. So anyway, and there when I went to the friend says, I will go round 108 times. Arey chalo, we have to go back. Because we will be in the forest before, while it becomes dark. It becomes quickly dark, in the winter, and you are caught inside the forest. You have to come out of it. There will be no light anywhere. Come back. No, I have to finish 108. We were sitting and waiting for this guy. And later he will walk slowly because his energy is lost in the... And he did 70 times and sat because he is unable to do any more. And we are sitting here. Arey, come now, at least now you come. No, 38 are still left. Why? What is this? Because the leader told him to do that. So like that, these religious leaders tell such physical things. They don't focus on the inner religion, the true religion. So these are the real things that people should focus on. And so kshanti, arjavam is straightforwardness, fair and frank attitude. That is a good one. That is also called congruence, arjavam. You see, in mathematics we used to do a question. Prove that 3 points are collinear, A, B, C. They are collinear. How to prove? So, there is a formula for the area of the triangle ABC. There is a formula. And so, apply that formula and calculate the area of triangle ABC. And if the area comes 0, they are collinear. Okay? So, that is the collinearity. They don't include any area between them. Similarly, mind, speech and thought, they are collinear. That is arjavam. You should not say two things.
Action, speech and thought.
Thought, speech and action. Yeah. Thought, speech and action. They should be collinear. We have to put 3 things to talk collinear. You cannot say 2 things collinear, because 2 things are ever collinear. You need not say that. Therefore, arjavam means you should have 3 things. Then only collinear will apply. That is called congruence. So, the mind or the thought, the speech and the action are one and the same. That is a congruence. Trikarana Shuddhi. That is also called Arjavam. Rujoho bhavaha, rujuhu. Rujoho bhavaha Arjavam. So, that congruence means manasyekam, vachasyekam, karmanyekam, mahatmanam. That way. So, what you think you say. And what you say you do. Very simple, Life becomes simple. And what you think you say and what you say you do, there is no stress generated. The area of the triangle is to be understood like that. No stress is generated. The mind remains silent. There is no, it remains silent. The thought, it is said, then there is silence. And it is done, there is silence. On the other hand, you think something and say something else, there is agitation in the mind. And do something else, there is all the more agitation in the mind. You see, today morning I have, it is not the same meditation, though it is a repetition, still it is not the same. There is always a new angle all the time, some freshness all the time. So I was pointing out, you look into your psyche and see the elements of restlessness in the psyche. So, when you are asked to sit quiet, how come you are not able to do that? Suppose, not that you do not do that, but sometimes you are not able to do that. So, there is some movement of the body this way, that way. You are not able to sit still. What could be the reason for that? There is a restlessness in you. And all these movements of the body, they are the expressions of that inner restlessness. They are the restless movements. So, why there is restlessness in you? Why? So, there is some toxin in you, an impurity that makes you restless. There is an impurity. So, that impurity, that is the stress, what they call stress. Sometimes they call it tension, but stress is more scientific word. And that stress is there when the congruence is absent, when there is no congruence. So you have to be diplomatic. Diplomatic means, diplomacy is a dirty word. But now it is a very important word. Diplomat. Diplomat means what? Diplomat, Sanskrit translation is Dvijifvaha, has two tongues. He is a two-tongued guy. That means he thinks one thing and says something else. That is the diplomatic behavior. And diplomacy, that is not valid in spirituality. No two things, only one. Therefore, that restlessness grows when you are not straightforward in your approach, when you are not clean. So thought, speech and action are not in the same line. There is no clean operation of the three organs, three karana, and therefore that accumulates restlessness, which is a toxin in the system, the psychological toxin it is. That's why you should be clean always. That is arjavam. Then let us see the list. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshantirarjavam, acharyopasanam. You see, upasanam is not, physically speaking, sit near. Upa-asanam, sit near. Now, suppose worship God, Ishwaropasanam. What will you do? Go and sit in the temple? Is that Ishwaropasanam? Suppose you go and sit in the temple. That becomes Ishwaropasanam. In fact, sometimes it so happens, the devotee who visits the temple is looking towards God, but the person who sits near the God is looking outside. And he has his back to the God. Physically, literally as well as spiritually, he has put his back to the God. God is behind me. He is looking to the world. People who come, what kind of people they are, that is how he is looking. So whether they are rich or not, That is the looking. So he is more worldly. While sitting near the God, he is more worldly. Whereas the devotee, he is always in the world, but his face is towards God. So he faces towards God. Therefore, not the physical presence. Upasanam is not the physical presence. Acharyopasanam is not breathing the same air which the Acharya is breathing. Not that. Acharyopasanam is the vision. Acharya represents the vision. Acharya is not the physical entity. Physical entity, what is that? It is born and it will die. And it is the vision. Acharya is the vision. And you associate yourself with that vision. You are always with the vision. That is the Acharyopasanam. In spirit. In letter, you do some service to the Acharya. You love the Acharya, you revere the Acharya, and as an expression of that reverence, you may do some service. In this context, I have already said many things in the last 10 days, and one more thing let me say. I already hinted it yesterday, now I am saying it. There is a thing called ritual. Reverence versus the ritual. Reverence is the inner quality, ritual is the outer expression. Generally, when you convert the reverence into the ritual, the inner quality gets compromised. That is the general rule. Almost like a law. Like, suppose I love Sri Krishna because his teaching, Gita, is a very precious teaching and very valuable. I love Sri Krishna. I have so much love for Bhagavan, for that tremendous teaching called Gita. Okay? So now what? I will build a temple of Sri Krishna with a marble statue. Okay? Without love, I would not be able to do that. So I have love for Sri Krishna, and as an expression of that love, I build a marble temple. And you know what happens? Wash off the hands. Once you have built a marble temple to Sri Krishna, that is over now. Now you will not revisit Sri Krishna's teaching and all that. Now you are stuck with the temple and its physical worship and various things associated with it. That is, you wash off your hands. That's why we worship Rama, but never follow Pitruvakya Paripalanam. What Rama stands for? What is the glory of Rama? For him, the word of the Father is it is like Vedavakyam. It is the ultimate. And he will implement it. Come what may. That is what Rama stands for. That is how Ramayana starts. We too have parents. Not only Rama had parents, we too have parents. But we don't care for the parents. But year after year we worship Rama's Murti. Put an image there and worship. And wash off the hands. Put an image of Sri Krishna, worship and wash off the hands. So that you need not, this study of Gita and following it is a big nuisance. Whereas do 108 puja and wash off the hands, easy. This is how a ritualized reverence, instead of strengthening the reverence or devotion, it compromises the reverence. More often than not, it happens like that. You may want to show a worthy exception here and there, that is all right. But exceptions do not make the rule. Rule is rule. Therefore, in the name of Acharyopasanam, you may not want to resort to ritualized reverence. Because ritualized reverence is a burden to the Acharya. In the beginning, if the Acharya has some such fancy for reverence of people, he wants to be revered by everybody. That is how the Acharyas are. Suppose some Acharyas are like that. For them, the spiritual growth of the students is not very important. The main thing is the reverence that they show to myself. That is important. And therefore I love this ritualized reverence for a while, for some time. When you are youthful or in the age, the ritualized reverence feels very good. You are made to sit in a huge chair where in that space 4 people can sit, whereas only one guy sits there, and very high. You need not sit so high unless a situation demands like this. And then hundreds of people worship. And the worship, you see, once you thought of worship, a prayer will be needed, somebody writes a prayer, and 108 names will be needed, somebody writes 108 names. Somebody will put together a few names. And normally you can put some 30-40 names together right away. Shall I write some names, 30-40 names about you? My friend is there, Raghu. I can write 30-40 names about him. So, Hong Kong Nivasaya Namaha, Rishikesh Sandarshine Namaha, Sada Hasya Lasanmukhaya Namaha, Dhavalavastra Sushobhitaya Namaha. Very well written names. Already I have written 5 good names, I tell you. You should give credit to me. In no time I have made some nice 7 names. And with some more effort I will make some 60-70 names you can put. And then you get stuck. You cannot go any forward afterward. Based on experience I am telling you. And then struggle. Look this way, look that way, scratch the head and get something. So he likes vada. So, Vadabhilashine Namaha. Okay, put it. Put it. So, this kind of ritualized reverence, I am describing it in those terms because that is how it is made. You don't tell me otherwise because I know the in and out of it. That is how it is made. And in the process, you become contradictory, hypocritical, and no sense is left in all that. And finally, the inner love is totally compromised. You become mechanical. You don't feel any love now. What love? For 20-30 minutes I sat and did all the puja. Now what love are you talking about? Is that not love? Yeah, that is love. Okay, then be done with it. Over. Therefore, I said all this because all this is going on in the name of Acharyopasanam. It goes on in the name of Acharyopasanam. And it is given a name by philosophers. It is called Gurudam. And you don't need it. So, in the right spirit, the way there is a thing called Bharata's love versus Lakshmana's love for Rama. Lakshmana's love is what I have described now. That is not... Rama was asked, whom do you like most? He said Bharata. He loves Lakshmana also. Lakshmana's love. I mean, in part, not entirely. Lakshmana is a great devotee. But in part, Lakshmana, he wants the physical presence of Rama. Whereas Bharata is not so hung up on the physical presence of Rama. He will do the command of Rama. That's all. And he will sacrifice his life, entire life, in the service of Rama. That is the real upasanam. Acharyopasanam chaiva. Therefore, Acharya is not a person. You are not supposed to submit yourself to a person's desires or demands or needs. That is not necessary. Acharya represents the vision, and you are supposed to submit yourself to the vision. That is the real Acharyopasanam chaiva. Then Shaucham, cleanliness. You must be hygienic. Outwardly you must be clean. That is important. Outwardly you must be clean. You must dress neatly. And your manners also must be clean. Manners of talking, saying hello, with love, with reverence. And the behavior, you should not be rude. And you should be sensitive to the needs of other people. And so all that outward, that is outward shaucham. Be clean, so that others will not be put to difficulty in your presence. So all that. And the hair is kept properly. And put a proper mark on the face. So if that is the part of the outward appearance which is proper, you have to do all that. You have to dress properly. So one time a person asked me, having come to the class, asked me, "Hey Swami, I got a doubt. Did I dress appropriately to the class?" I said, "I don't think so." And walked away. Class was over, the question was put and I answered, "I don't think so." Then again class is there in the evening, and now the person is dressed very appropriately. Therefore, you have to dress appropriately also, so all of that, outer behavior and appearance, outer profile must be clean. That is shaucham. But then shaucham is also antara shaucham. Is it, suppose beauty. What is beauty? Outer beauty. You dress well, you put your hair in the good place, and you keep your face well kept, whatever that means. And all of that is outer beauty. But is that the real beauty? No. There is a thing called inner beauty, like inner cleanliness. What is that inner beauty? That sensitivity, the tenderness, and gentleness. You be gentle. Don't be harsh. And so very loving. These are all expressions of love only ultimately. And so you know what love is, you feel it deeply, and you are willing to endure some inconvenience for the sake of love to others. You are very sensitive to the expectations, needs, and aspirations of others. That is the inner beauty. Even if outwardly you are not very beautiful, I mean, there is a physical beauty and it is determined by certain physical parameters also, these people. So outwardly you may not be very beautiful, but when there is the inner beauty, there is a radiance. Even when the face is not so beautiful, there is a radiance in that face. That radiance reflects the inner beauty. Therefore, people should strive for the inner beauty. So, does it mean that we should ignore or neglect the outer beauty? No. You take care of the outer also. But the inner beauty, the inner cleanliness, the inner love is more important than the outer. But shaucham includes both, really speaking. It begins with the outer and ends in the inner. In some cases it begins with the outer and ends with the outer, no inner. Inner is totally compromised. That is worthless. So shaucham, bahya shaucham, antara shaucham. Then atma vinigraha. Atma is body-mind, not Sachidananda Atma. There is nothing like controlling, commanding Sachidananda Atma. Atma, body-mind. This is an important divine quality. You see, people have to pay attention to this. So, self-knowledge is not just reeling out scriptures. That is there is a value for that. You see, don't conclude that I am against the scriptures. I am not against the scriptures. I live with the scriptures whole in and through and through. So scriptures are our bread and butter. But overemphasis on the scriptures, thereby compromising on the spirit, it is not good. That's why I say like this. Therefore, just reciting scriptures, studying scriptures, and assuming that you have accomplished what needs to be accomplished, but you know that you have not yet accomplished, you know that you are in bondage, but then it will happen in future. This is because you have done your bit, namely studying the scriptures part you have done, and now the realization has to happen, not yet happened, it will happen later. It is like reading the cookbook and waiting for the food to appear on the table. It won't appear. Somebody said, don't give cookbook example. I said, why not? Why not? See whether the example fits. If it fits, then keep it. If cookbook example is taken out, I will give another example. So, like a manual of good health. You read it and you by heart it, you know every page thoroughly. But you are sitting in the chair all the time and becoming obese. What is the use of the manual of good health? Therefore, if not cookbook, you can take that as an illustration. Whatever. Therefore, just study of the scriptures is not adequate. It is not enough. There is something more than scriptures, and that is the body-mind under my command. It became first things first. So, no, body-mind, let it wait. Let me settle this Atma which is Brahma. Of course, Atma is Brahma. Now, you want to start with that? Now, I will ask you one thing. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start the universe arising out of Brahman? Brahman is the efficient material cause of the universe. Would you like to start there? Or, here I am, and then in the experience of I amness, there is the physical body and there is the mind, and then I am the one who knows. So the body and mind are the known, and I am the one who knows, the knower. And so this distinction, let me examine this distinction. Where will you start? Here or there? So the answer is obvious, So that's why I told the law. One who starts far reaches nowhere. That is the second part of the law. The first part is one who starts near reaches far. That is Upanishad. It starts very close. Even 1,000 miles journey is started with the first single step. With the first step, a short first step. 1,000-mile journey is started like that. Therefore, first things first. So begin with the body-mind. You look at your equation with the body-mind. What is the equation you have? Everybody has to look within and understand. The understanding gives you the freedom from bondage. So one has to look at oneself and decide, am I the slave to the body, or the body I keep in my command? Where do the things stand? So one has to look at oneself. So, suppose I become lazy, not moving at all, and always sitting in lazy boy sofas and couches and all that, and eating very rich food, and getting things done by others all the time, without any self-reliance. Very soon you would become a slave to the body. Already there is an element of slavery to the body. Already it is there. That becomes very enhanced, and we become slaves to the body. And soon become sick also. You see, I tell you, a person was walking, and then when I met after a while, are you walking well? The person said, I stopped walking. Why? Because there is knee pain. So, because there is knee pain, you stopped walking. Will that solve the knee pain problem? It won't. Because you stopped walking, you are sitting all the time, you became heavier, I can see that, and now it will add to the knee pain. But then when knee pain is there, how can I walk? So you have to break that cycle. So don't stop walking because of knee pain. Don't use knee pain as an excuse to stop walking. If you use an excuse, it is easy. You need not fight anything. So a nice excuse now you have for not walking. Very nice justification, because knee pain is there. And therefore, you have become a victim of that thing. You break that cycle. How? In spite of the knee pain, I will walk. Maybe slowly, maybe a less amount. Apply some oil or something to the knees and do some massaging and etc. and do walking. Don't give up walking. You believe me, you will prevail over the knee pain. And gradually the knee pain will come into your hands. It will be reduced. If not, go away altogether. and you retain your walking. May not be as much as you used to do, but at a reduced level. The walking is kept. You walk. This is how you have to conquer the body. It is a battle with the body. You have to win this battle. Atma vinigraha. Then the mind. People live in bondage to the mind. It is not about a family person or a monk. It doesn't matter whether you are a family guy or a monk. What matters is whether you are a slave to your imagination or not. That alone matters. Generally, people imagine and believe they are planning, they are thinking. I said it. What you call planning, thinking, etc. is mere imagination. There is no truth in it. You examine it and don't allow your imagination to take you for a ride. So somebody is an enemy. No, you are imagining. He is not an enemy. I cannot live without this person. You are imagining. You can live without this person. You see, one time what happened, some 10 devotees came to me to meet me. I was sitting there and somebody told, this is Swami is sitting, this and that, and so they came to meet me. So some discussion. I was meeting them for the first time and I asked, where from you are coming? So they were coming from some village, a small town, maybe somewhere in Maharashtra or Gujarat. And so they said, we study scriptures, this and that. We have a guru and we study scriptures. And now our guru has become sick. And now we are thinking, after our guru dies, we will all commit suicide. Because we cannot live without our guru. How can we live without our guru? He is everything for us, and without him we are nothing. We are fit for nothing people. Whereas our guru is important for us. Without him we are useless. And so we all thinking of committing suicide after once he is no more. Because the doctors told he will not live for long. That's why. Then I said, don't talk like that kind of a language. You are not doing any service to your guru. It is a blot on your guru's name itself that you are able to talk like this. And it only proves that you have not learnt anything worthwhile from him. And that doesn't speak well of him either. So you should not talk like that. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu, etc. Therefore, take easy, don't talk that language anymore. And anyway, they came only to pay some respect to me. They did not come to take some great message from me and all that. And so the meeting ended, and so don't talk of suicide and all that anymore. Be loving and all that. Everything will be all right. Your guru also will live long, God willing. So the meeting ended. And then I met a few of them. 10 people met me. 2 or 3 of them I suddenly, unexpectedly met them after 1.5 years. And then I was scratching my head. Oh, I saw you. Yeah, at that time we came, 10 people, we came and met you there. Yeah, I remember. How is your guru? Yeah. He told he is no more. Well, 1 year back, as expected, he was no more. Within 6 months, he left the mortal frame. Okay, God bless. His soul, he has reached God, that part of it is okay. But then how many of you committed suicide? No, nobody committed suicide. They were doing fine. They were all right. They were happy, really speaking. They were living their life in a normal way. Not that they are happy because their guru died, not that way. They were living their life like anybody else. And therefore, when you say, without this person I cannot live, you are just imagining. No, I am very attached to it. No, you are not. You are not attached. Asango hyayam purushaha. You are not attached to anything. You think that you are attached. That is your imagination. Therefore, the mind takes you for a ride all the time. Therefore, you are not attached to the things that you believe you are attached. And this suffering I cannot overcome. You are imagining. You can overcome. In fact, you can overcome any suffering. There is no suffering in this creation that you cannot handle or overcome. Because in truth, there is always a gap between you and the suffering. The suffering can never touch you. Suffering is located in the mind, and you are not the mind. In spite of your wrong understanding, you are not the mind. Therefore, it so happens that you feel that you are suffering, but eventually you will come out of it. Eventually. 3 days. It is always 3 days. The 4th day, you know, what happens? They go to get the death certificate. Why death certificate? Because the bank man wants death certificate. You show death certificate and put some affidavit there, he will allow you to draw cash. That is the 4th day onwards. 3 days. No, it is very severe suffering, 3 weeks. Or maximum 3 months. That is the end of it. Nothing more than that. And therefore, any suffering cannot make you, cannot put you down. You can win against any suffering. Any pleasure is also like that. Therefore, the pleasures and pains are in the mind, they come and go. You are not to be too much affected by them. And so you have to keep the distance with reference to the mind. Thereby, the mind is in your command rather than the mind commanding you. It is like the dog should wag its tail. The tail should not wag the entire dog, you know. So, that is called Atma Vinigraha. Like that, the list is there. Then Niyama Yamadhyaha. This is Patanjali's Yoga Darshanam. 5 yamas and 5 niyamas. Yamas are restraints. Yama is restraint. Niyama is regulation. Restraint is personal with reference to oneself. Regulation is while interacting with the other things of the world, other people of the world. So, you have to follow the 5 yamas, 5 restraints in your personal life, and you have to follow 5 regulations, niyamas, in your social life, or familial life, social life. What are the yamas? Ahimsa, non-violence, satyam, truthfulness, ahimsa, satya, akrodha, asteya. Asteya. It is a very important yama. Means you do not touch somebody else's property or somebody else's thing without his permission, his or her permission. Suppose somebody else leaves $1 million here. Rupees, it could be good enough, but I said dollars, the value gets enhanced. In India, the cricket players are paid in dollars, you know that. Anyway, so $1 million are kept here. And if I look at it in an unattached way, that is fine. That is asteya. But if I look at it and feel how nice would it be if I get those $1 million, already you have committed steya. You are a thief already, mentally. That is how Patanjali describes. Even Christ in his one of his sermons said something very similar to that. It is a kind of adultery at the level of the mind. Already there is adultery. Already there is a stealing at the level of the mind. So that means even in the wildest of dreams, you do not covet other people's property or wealth or money. That is asteya. That is how you live in your heart. Asteya, brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is roughly translated as celibacy, but that applies only to the unmarried people. For the married people, brahmacharya is translated as fidelity, not celibacy, fidelity. And in the case of vanaprastha, even the fidelity issue doesn't arise. Friendship between the spouse, male and female, between them, there is a friendship. That is in the vanaprastha life, in the retirement life. And for a sannyasi, there is no connection with any woman, no affair or any attachment to a woman, or for the woman with the man. So generally in those days, sannyasa is for male, therefore it was said as woman. But as women also start taking to sannyasa, it the other way it becomes. Therefore, this is called brahmacharya. Then aparigraha, an important personal restraint, means non-accumulation. That is aparigraha. Parigraha is accumulation. Suppose you want a pair of chappals to walk around, but then you may want to have a spare pair. That is fine. Suppose you have some 20 pairs. One for bathroom, one for bedroom, one for dinner room, and one for going outside, one for going out of the station, one for going to office. Like that, you have 20 pairs. That becomes accumulation. Suppose you have some golden chain and a few earrings, for the women, earrings, a pair of earrings, maybe 2 pairs or 3 pairs, maybe a ring to the nose, whatever. Like that, some 3-4 normal jewelry, which is sanctioned by religion and culture also, and even the gods and goddesses are described to some extent like that. And therefore you have a few golden ornaments, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is fine. Suppose you have golden ornaments worth 200 kg of gold or 20 kg. That is accumulation. That is very dangerous also. Very dangerous. While traveling, if the women put more of golden ornaments, then they stand a chance of not only being robbed, but being physically injured. Very dangerous it is. Therefore, jewelry, don't accumulate. Dresses, don't accumulate. Even sadhus, go on accumulating shawls, a dozen shawls. You don't need a dozen shawls. You need one shawl, maybe one more. Industrial economy, it is not like shawls are made with hand. In which case, nobody will give you shawls because there are not many shawls around. Only one shawl is enough. Even a second shawl is difficult to get. But it is industrial economy. So in a minute 100 shawls are made. And they are all put into the market. And the people's economic standards have improved. Therefore people purchase these shawls and bring and dump with this Swami. Therefore Swami has more than one shawl. So 2 or 3, fair enough. Because it is industrial economy, that's why fair enough, 2 or 3. But suppose I have 20 of them, that is accumulation. Like that, you don't want to accumulate anything. You don't want any accumulation. In fact, if you are asked to move from one place to the other place permanently, you move out with one backpack and one suitcase. You move out. That is all you have to carry, nothing more. So, that kind of non-accumulation, aparigraha. I know a Mahatma, he has one pair of clothes on his body and one pair of clothes on the line. That's it. And one joli, one bag hanging from the shoulder bag, one bag, and a few things in that. He has to go somewhere, that is all he is, so he goes. That is all his luggage, there is no other luggage to carry. Some Mahatmas are like that. They are the exemplary people for the principle of non-accumulation, aparigraha. That is yama. Then niyamaha, shaucha. So you see, they are repeating. Santosha is contentment. Be happy. Try to be happy with what you have, instead of looking for what you do not have. There is joy, that inner joy, when you practice a shaucha, a santosha. Tapaha. Tapaha means ability to withstand physical discomfort. Like cold, you withstand it. You just endure it. Take to the name of Lord, God, and endure. That becomes tapaha. Shaucha, santosha, tapas, swadhyaya. Study of scriptures. Mananam. Study of scriptures means not some scholarship, or scholarship is okay, worthy thing it is. Mananam. Swadhyaya is mananam. Not joining a group of swadhyaya. It is not again groupism. No. Mananam. You can take the help of a few people, but you do mananam. Shaucha, santosha, tapas, swadhyaya. Ishvara pranidhana. So surrender the life to Ishvara. Means what? You accept things as they come. Allow them to go as they go. Endure things that they are with you. And allow them to go if they have to go. So you allow the higher power to guide your life. So remember that expression, higher power, that is the translation of Ishvara. So higher power, that is guiding your life. You understand that. The heart is beating not because of your wish or your will. We do not accept anything called free will. Free will is a concept that is unknown in Vedanta. It doesn't exist in Vedanta. It came from the West, which is all right. There is something sense in it. You can adopt. No, nothing wrong. But it is not your will or free will for that matter which guides the heart. It is the higher power which runs the heart, the blood circulation by the higher power. And therefore, if it is time to live, happily live. Time to go, ready to go. Don't cling to anything. Allow the higher power to decide. Main things are, how long should I live? Let the higher power decide. It is not my lookout. It is some Ishvara's lookout. They don't start big rituals to live long and all that. That is very unbecoming. So, this is how we surrender to Ishvara. Sukha comes, Ishvara's will. Dukkha comes, that is also Ishvara's will. Not only Ishvara's will, pleasure is divine, pain is also equally divine. Therefore, we endure the pain. We endure the pleasure also, because we are not particularly seeking pleasure. You have to endure it. You have to just endure it. So, that means you are equanimous towards pleasure and pain. That is what is called equanimous or equanimity. So this is how you live, in peace and in happiness. Then what about moksha? You are already liberated. You need not get moksha in you. It is already with you. You take it from me. You cultivate these qualities, and moksha is a foregone conclusion. And you don't pursue these qualities, just pursue scriptures, moksha will stand at an infinite distance. It is like that. It is a flip-flop. You cultivate these qualities and then you discover, oh, moksha is already with me. It was never away from me. That is how self-realization is like that. Oh, it was never other than me. And then you don't pursue these qualities, then the moksha is away. Therefore, put emphasis on the sadguna prapti, sadguna. Ishvara will be with you eventually. Sadguna prapti reva Ishvara praptihi. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.